Welcome everybody to today's workshop. My name is Carl Almeida. I'm a registered counselor here at Company Wellness Solutions, and I'll be talking to you today about resisting anger, rewiring our mind and our brain, as well as fostering tranquility within ourselves. So right now what I want to do is I just want to go through an introduction just to give us a bit of an understanding of what we're going to be discussing in today's workshop. So first thing, we need to first understand what is anger and understanding anger as its entirety. Then the next thing we're going to be looking at is some of the techniques that we can use to resisting anger as well as helping us through anger. Then we're going to look at rewiring our mind and the reasons why we do it, as well as consistency and how that impacts us. Which then is going to lead us to finally fostering tranquility, to allowing us to live a personal as well as a healthy lifestyle. So first thing is look at understanding anger. So first thing we need to understand with anger is that it's a natural and human response. We get anger out of some things that affect us in our lives, things that bother us, things that impact us on our daily basis. So when we come into it, we need to understand that everyone experiences it. So not just us, but people around us. And at certain points in our life, this is when it happens. So things like threats, things like injustices, things like frustrations in our lives brings us to manifesting this and to some various degrees. So things that annoy us to really intense rage. So things like stumping our toes, we might be upset and irritated that we hurt ourselves, to let's say maybe things like road rage, where now we're actually really pissed off about someone else. Now with that, we need to understand that it also comes to one various degrees, like you said, but it's not always inherently bad. So what I mean by that is that we're not always going to see it as a bad thing, because it's a process that allows us to, one, determine our boundaries, and for others to see our boundaries, and secondly also to allow us to protect ourselves from things that affect us. So for, let's say, for example, road rage, it is really important to understand and know that it is something that leads to us recognizing that someone can be harming us and harming people around us or people in the car with us. It allows us to protect the people around us. And that's why we get upset, because if they do something wrong, it could affect us. As well as also economically, it can affect our cars. Then the last thing I would like to just mention is that anger cannot be managed effectively if we're looking at something that can harm ourselves or harm others. So what I mean by this is that when we're looking at anger, it can be something that can affect negatively if we do not manage it. So now with understanding anger, we also need to understand that uncontrollable anger has a negative effect on us. So this can be destructive behavior, it can be something that affects our relationships, so straining them, as well as can also lead to physical problems, so health problems. Because it's actually been shown that if we do not control our anger, it can lead to things like high blood pressure, heart disease, as well as a compromised immune system that affects us in our daily lives. And when it comes to that, the one challenge that we're going to have to face with it is also the underlying things that come from it. So anger is normally a surface feeling, which has a deeper feeling that comes with it, the reason why we're getting angry. So that is something, sometimes things like sadness, things like feeling hurt, as well as things like fear. So us worried about the people around us, so like I said earlier about road rage, being worried about the people around us is something that's really important and crucial in understanding, because now actually the anger was what I'm expressing, but what I'm feeling is a sense of fear that this could hurt us and our family. So, and the last thing is also suppressing anger is something that can lead to one of two things. One, internal turmoil. So now we're questioning ourselves, we're questioning our abilities, we are now getting angry over everything and maybe even transference. So we move this anger towards someone else. Or secondly, it leads to outbursts that are uncontrollable. So now when it comes to these outbursts, that now instead of you being angry about hurting your foot, you're now angry about hurting your foot, the house, your kids not doing their homework. So now it gets all built up until the final moment. And that's something that we're going to be looking into. So now, looking at some of the things from our understanding of anger, now we're going to look at the techniques of resisting anger. So now this is going to be a little bit of discussion, because it is something that you're going to choose what works best for you. So some of the practical strategies that we can be looking at is deep breathing exercises, taking time just to breathe. So things like color breathing, whereby you count back from 10, linking it with a color. So 10, red, 9, green, and so forth, can actually allow us to take a moment just to think and refocus ourselves to being in the present moment, to also identify what we're actually angry about. The second one is a mindful meditation, which is not you just meditating by yourself, but also taking time just to think. So a mindful walk or mindful eating can be great examples of this, because what it does, it allows you to be in a moment where you're thinking about yourself, what you're feeling, what's leading to it, taking that time away from others so that you also get to process it, so that you can then be actually present in a moment. And the last one is positive reframing. So now this is a part where you allow a person to actually look at a negative situation and change it into something positive. So for example, stumping your toe. I know it might seem very meaningless, but actually stumping your toe onto a chair that you've been stumping your toe on, also recognize that maybe I need to move this chair and put it in a place where it's going to be more comfortable for everyone, and maybe that might function for everyone. Secondly, even something like road rage is something really important, because we get angry at the road quite often. People make mistakes, and looking at it like mistakes or a sense of emergency, we can say that maybe there's an emergency that this person really needs to get to. So we also get to be empathetic with someone. So another thing that we can also use to helping us resisting anger is also physical activity. Exhaustion as well as exercising allows us to also reframe our minds. So we actually get to expend a lot of adrenaline, a lot of testosterone, as well as a lot of other hormones like creating cortisone, as well as our happy hormones, so serotonin and dopamines, which actually help us to get through our day and as well as process, because sometimes we kind of link our exercises to the things that are upsetting us. So that can also be very helpful. The next one is cognitive reframing. So very similar to positive reframing, it is a technique that you use to actually change your thought patterns and your thoughts and perceptions about something, so that you actually create in a more positive way. So this is a very unique one, which is used mainly for anger management, is, practice assertive communication. So assertive communication is not you being angry and shouting and lashing out at someone. This is more of a thing of you inform people about your concerns and worries, as well as informing people about the things that bother you and affect you. So this allows you to communicate your problems as well as the challenges that you're facing, so people can be more understanding, as well as people also not to be surprised if they expect a negative reaction from you. And then the last one is taking time out. Taking that withdrawal time allows us to get away from the situation, so the overwhelming feeling of anger, and allowing us to actually take time to process as well as calm ourselves down, so we can be more ethically inclined as well as empathetic to a person, no matter if they're making us angry or not. Now we looked at understanding anger as well as some of the methods to resisting it. But how do we get that to become part of our lives? So brain rewiring is an ability that allows us to actually use our thought patterns and consistency to actually reorganize and form new neural pathways. So I know it sounds very technical, but the actual term for this is neuroplasticity. So our mind naturally is able to change and develop and evolve. So like when we learn new skills, when we do something different, and we're able to now remember how we did it and be able to do it even with something like muscle memory. So this can also be done with anger, because what it does, it allows us to restructure our mind, the way we function and the way we connect things, so that it may now be in a more positive or different method. So now when it comes to this, our experiences, our learning curves, as well as our environmental factors can actually play a really important and crucial role in this. And this allows us to be in the capacity to make things work differently for us. So when it comes to things like anger, it allows us to now saying, instead of road rage being a sense of rage and frustration that we don't want to be on the road, we can also change those neural pathways to being more focusing on things like that the road is a place of where I get to my destination. It's not about them making a mistake, but rather that they might have an emergency that led to them being in this situation. A sense of maybe time lapse, whereby sometimes we're not fully conscious of what we do. So like an autopilot mode. Some of these things that we consider and put into our minds also allows us to be more present and allow us to also refocus our mind and create these pathways to allow us to be more positive. Now, with rewiring our mind, we need to look at consistency, because nothing gets done overnight, unfortunately. So consistent repetition is something that's really important with positive thinking as well as calming techniques, because when we do this on a consistent level, it allows us to create those neural pathways in our mind so that it actually becomes a part of us. So a best example is cultural positive neuro traits. I know it's a very lengthy word, but what this intentionally means is that positive thinking and consistently being positive allows us to affirm some of the attributes that we are trying to create. So for example, us no longer being angry on the road, us consistently being positive, us consistently saying, you know what, it's one person mistake. He is not the example of the entire road, and people are foolish. It is part of human nature. Some of these things, and also noting that we do sometimes the good things as well. Us as ourselves doing things naturally and in a positive way also allows us to then say, I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, he's making a mistake, but do you know what? Everyone's safe in the car. I'm safe. Allows us to be now present and more positive in the way we're thinking. And consistently doing that allows us to actually, in essence, become more resilient towards things that are affecting us negatively. So there's individuals that are now affecting us can now become a source of actually strengthening individual neural circuits that are in our mind, to being allowing us to, one, be more optimistic, two, create more positive self-esteem, and three, also be emotionally resilient to things that are affecting us. So the last thing I'm going to look at is, now we're looking at anger, how we resist it. We also look at now our neural pathways, so our brain rewiring. So the last thing I want to also do is creating and fostering tranquility. So when it comes to it, it's really essential in creating a peaceful environment, not only internally but also externally. So creating an environment within maybe our home, within our car, or even in our office space, to allow us to be in a more positive and as well as in a more peaceful state. So incorporating some tranquil techniques and enhancing practices can allow us to make our daily routine more pleasurable. So things like spending time in nature. So during our lunch break, or even those 10 minutes, just walking around, taking a stroll outside can actually be really helpful in, one, opening our lungs, more oxygen. I know sometimes in winter it might be more painful, but it also helps us to get more air in us and as well as to refocus our mind. The second one, doing things that make us happy. So our hobbies and our activities that we enjoy can actually help us in our daily life, which then leads to our next one, cultivating gratitude within our daily reflections. Things like, my day was not that great, but do you know what I did enjoy? I actually enjoyed my meeting with my colleagues. I did enjoy the ride home today, at least once. Maybe I also enjoyed some of my family interactions. Some of these things actually convert our day to be more positive rather than negative. A digital detox is something really important, because it actually can help us detach from our technology as well as our short-term memory, so that we actually get to process the entire day and everything that comes with the day. And then so this is just an example with mindful eating. So this is when you actually focus directly on a meal. So what you're eating, so let's say for example you're having mince and spaghetti, focusing on the mince, what it tastes like, what it smells like, what it looks like, the spaghetti, its texture, its length. Some of this actually allows us to actually refocus our mind and be more present and more actually enjoying the meal, instead of just eating it and focusing on something else like TV or what's on the news or social media. And then the last one is also connecting with other people. Connection with others can actually help us get perspective as well as understanding, as well as validation sometimes from the feelings that we get every day. So now, when we're looking at everything that we've done so far, it's really important to note that anger is part of us and part of our daily lives, but it's also something that's really important to note is that we can actually also manage it and not let it affect us negatively every day. So last thing I just want to say is thank you everybody for joining us through today's workshop. I hope this helped you to helping managing your anger and creating a new neural pathways in your life, as well as tranquility in your everyday. And I hope to see you in the next one.